My name is Bryn Milne. I'm a senior sports management major at St. Bonaventure University. So since I was a little girl, I've always had a really strong interest in sports, as I grew up playing basketball, soccer, and softball since I was about 6, and I grew up watching my brother playing sports as well as my dad coaching them alongside of us. Then, as I got older, people just continued to ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do for a career? And especially around my senior year, people kept asking me that. And I didn't really know, but I knew people always said, do something you love and do something you're passionate about. So therefore, I decided to pick the major of sports management. While majoring in sports management at St. Bonaventure, I've been able to get really good experience in the athletic department and develop a lot of great relationships. So this past school year, I've been working in the ticket office, where I've been able to work with a lot of people in the athletic department, and I learned how to use the whole ticketing system, and I also developed a lot of my customer service skills. I also received jobs coaching modified softball and soccer at a local high school that's kind of near St. Bonaventure. I also went there, and it's my alma mater, so it was pretty cool to go back and be able to coach and work with some girls that I was really familiar with. So while working these jobs coaching, I've increased my leadership skills a lot. I've learned a lot of what it's like to just be involved and be completely in charge of a team. And I also had to take on the responsibility of just making sure all the girls were safe and taken care of throughout the whole season. Also, while working at the ticket office, I've continued working as a substitute teacher at Portville, which is the school that I've been coaching at, and I've been working at that position for about 2.5 years throughout my time at college. Also, when it comes to my academics at St. Bonaventure, I've been able to keep a GPA of 3.959, and I've recently been inducted into the National Honor Society of Business at St. Bonaventure. So, as I've just mentioned, being inducted into the National Honor Society of Business at St. Bonaventure, also known as Beta Gamma Sigma, has been my greatest accomplishment while pursuing my undergraduate degree. So to be a part of this, the student has to have a GPA that is in the top 10% of the senior class for the business school. And you also have to just be a genuine, hardworking student that works well with your peers as well as your professors. I feel that this is a really great accomplishment for me because I was able to do it while working at the ticket office, substitute teaching, and coaching, which is all very time-consuming jobs. Also, the classes that I've been taking at St. Bonaventure were tougher classes that I had to really put a lot of my time and my effort into in order to be successful and get good grades in them. I was constantly preparing, studying, doing homework, taking notes. I also went to extra reviews and met with my professors one-on-one just to make sure that I was keeping up with the classes and doing great in them, getting good grades. All of this was just really important to me, as grades are such a staple in my life, so important. And I just feel that this accomplishment is very huge for me because academics are such a huge part of my life aside from sports. And it's kind of interesting and cool that my academics and sports are combined together right now, and it's just a lot of my passions combined into one. It's cool that my major accomplishment involves them both. Also, being inducted to this honor society has been something that I've been striving for since my freshman year, and I'm just really thankful and excited to be a part of it. So I would say that sports management is like the management of organizations in which the major focus of the organization is sports or physical activity or recreation, something of that sort. And a sports manager's responsibility consists of planning, budgeting, controlling, hiring and staffing, leading, directing, all in the organization that, again, is predominantly focused on sports. So to measure some of the success of the sport manager, I would say that it's important that they have a very good understanding of the sport they're working with. The better the sports manager has an understanding of that sport, the more successful I think they would be in the organization, and the better the organization would run altogether. Some other ways that I would measure the success of the manager is if they're hiring and staffing good people that are benefiting the organization and making the organization better as a whole. And also those people that they're staffing enjoy working for that manager as well. I feel that if the manager is hiring good people, then the organization will run a lot smoother. And if the people like working for the manager, it says that they're just a good person to work for, and people will most likely work harder for them. So finally, I would say the overall success of the manager is just based on how well the organization as a whole is running. So, for example, if things are well organized and the staff and their actions are pretty much under control, and there's a set plan and goal for the staff and the manager for everyone to follow, as well as making a profit for the organization, I feel that the overall success of the manager is high. So, in my opinion, management means advising and controlling an organization to achieve a certain objective or goal. And it consists of planning and coordinating with the staff in order to accomplish those goals and just be a successful organization as a whole. So, I would say my biggest strength in management is just the ability to control and complete multiple tasks at once. As a manager, I feel that it's important that you must be able to communicate it with multiple staff members about multiple tasks that need to be completed in the organization. And to be successful, I feel like you must remember each of these tasks and have a personal relationship with each of your staff members in that situation. I feel that you need to be able to just advise your staff on what you're doing, what they're doing right or wrong, and be able to communicate with them well and know what they're doing, even though there are so many tasks and people completing those tasks. As I've previously mentioned, I worked as a substitute teacher, worked in the ticket office, worked as a coach, and went to my classes full-time on top of it all together. So there are a lot of responsibilities and tasks I had for each of those things, as well as multiple people that I had to work with and have relationships with. So therefore, I feel that I'm very strong at being able to control and complete multiple tasks and work with multiple people at the same time, which again, I feel like is very important in management. However, I do feel that my biggest weakness in management is having things needing to be done a particular certain way. For example, if I'm working in a group project and I instruct someone to do something, I sometimes get frustrated if it's not done the exact way I have it in my mind that I would like it to be done. And I feel like that can be a weakness in management sometimes. However, sometimes I think it's important to be open to new ideas and people doing things a different way because sometimes it's a better way to do it and I didn't realize it. I try to make difficult and challenging decisions through the four-step decision-making process. So through this process, I first define the problem, then I generate possible solutions to that problem, then I evaluate those solutions to determine what the best one is, and finally, I pick what my best solution is. So an example of when I used this process was when I had to determine what girls I was going to play in what positions against our toughest opponent for modified soccer. The main problem I was facing, however, was that we were playing our best opponent, but I was missing 3 girls out with COVID-19, leaving me with only 10 players, and those 3 players were also my best players. So I had to come up with different solutions to how I would solve this problem. The first solution I had was to replace those 3 girls with girls who usually sat the bench and didn't have a ton of game experience. My second solution was to talk to my athletic director to see if we could reschedule this game. And my third solution was to take girls who already had game experience and move them to the other girls' positions and move people around position-wise. I then evaluated each of these alternatives to determine which one would be the most plausible and the most effective and hopefully allow us to win the game. I determined that the best thing for me to do to allow us to win the game was to keep the team with them in their most familiar positions and fill in the 3 girls' positions with girls who didn't have a ton of game experience but could somewhat get the idea of the position and where to play and just how to be in a game situation. I would also talk to these girls throughout the game just to make sure they were understanding the positions, and also I would call more timeouts, which I usually didn't, just to get more girls water breaks since I didn't have any subs, and to just talk to them, see how they're doing, just overall talk them through the game to make sure they were understanding everything. Overall, this ended up being a pretty good game plan. We didn't end up winning, but we ended up tying our toughest opponent, which was a really big achievement in my book. So a recent goal that I had set for myself was that I wanted to be accepted into St. Bonaventure for their MBA graduate program, and while doing this, I also wanted to be a grad assistant in the athletic department. In order to do this, I needed to have a GPA of 3.5 or above, so that way I would get out of taking the GRE. And I also needed to have a good resume that showed my success as a student and an employee. Therefore, throughout my whole undergrad experience, I worked really hard in all my classes to achieve a high GPA. And as I have mentioned before, that included going to extra reviews, doing all my homework, studying hours on end, just really preparing and making sure that I was doing well in all my courses. I really took each and every class very seriously because I knew that it would eventually help me get to my end goal of getting into grad school with a high GPA. However, my grades weren't the only thing that I needed to focus on in order to reach my goal. If I wanted to be a graduate assistant, I really needed to have some good work experience, especially if I wanted to be working in the athletic department and get a lot of background experience in athletics as a whole. To do this, I first took the job coaching modified softball last spring, and this helped me gain a lot of knowledge about everything that just goes into a team, such as the jerseys, practice time, field availability, scheduling the games, scheduling travel and buses, just to name a few of the things. And I was able to learn all those things that go into a team and just the sport on kind of a smaller level, so that way I could be more involved in it and just get a really good understanding of it. So then I took the job coaching modified soccer in the fall, and this again allowed me to gain more knowledge about running a team and just how to be successful in it. Then I finally took the job working at St. Bonaventure in the ticket office, where I was able to learn more of the business aspect of sports and develop relationships with a lot of people in the athletic department. So by gaining all this experience working in sports, I was able to show that I was capable of working as a graduate assistant in the athletic department, and I reached my goal of getting the job. So really focusing on my schoolwork, my job, getting experience in athletic all helped me reach my goal of getting into the MBA program at St. Bonaventure and getting the job as a graduate assistant in the athletic department. So thank you for asking me these questions and taking the time to listen to my responses. If you have any questions or would like to contact me, you can contact me at the email and phone number below.